Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. As we know, Wicked dropped last night. Everyone around the world is now going this weekend to go see it, and I'm so excited. I went last night, an opening night with my best friend here in Los Angeles, Matt. I think I'm gonna cry during Defying Gravity.
The movie's got a tall order. Still on the fence about them splitting it up into two movies because, in my personal opinion, Act 1 has all the best tracks with the exception of For Good. So they're really gonna have to set it up well for us to have to wait another year for the finale, but we'll see.
This will not be spoiler free, so if you have not seen this movie, please put a pin in this video, save it to your bookmarks, go see the movie, and come back and hang out with us and we'll talk about it, because I'm gonna be giving everything away. I'm giving all the spoilers. I'm gonna talk about everything in the film. So if you keep watching beyond this point, do so at your own risk. If you're brand new here, please go ahead and smash that subscribe button and ring the bell so that you get notified the next time I drop another cool video just like this one. I'm also going to be putting chapters here at the bottom of the screen so that you can navigate a little bit more easily to the areas of interest that you want, but just hang out with me. Stay for the whole thing. It's going to be really, really fun. First up, hot topics, right? Controversy. There was controversy going into this film, and I think we need to talk about it a little bit. I don't want it to like be this dampering thing on the mood of the review, but we need to talk about it. There was some scandalous stuff going on from both Ariana and Cynthia, allegedly. I have to say that because I don't want to get in trouble. Allegedly. And it matters. It's all part of the PR. It's all part of the hype. With Ariana Grande, a lot of people decided they were not going to come see this film because Ariana Grande and her current boyfriend, Ethan Slater, met on the set of filming Wicked in December of 2022. Write that down. Timelines do not lie. Timelines show all. Now, here comes the allegedly. Allegedly, when they met and started hanging out on set, they were allegedly, it was immediate. Within like the first couple days of meeting and starting to film, they were holding hands, they were kissing, they were together essentially, and everybody kind of knew it. Allegedly, some people were saying that it was very sloppy, that they didn't really care. Well, what's that? That's not a big deal, Gilbert, right? People let people fall in love. Well, first of all, it's not me saying this. I'm being the reporter right now. I'm telling you what was said about it. And the reason why it was an issue is because this was filming in London, in England, in December of 2022. And at the time, Ariana Grande and Ethan were married to other people back home here in the US. So that's why it was an issue. Ariana Grande has never denied it. In fact, the opposite. She wrote an album kind of saying, I'll do what I want. In her song, Yes and, which is a response to the rumors that she was being a homewrecker. She was like, yes, and what's your point? In the lyric, it says, why do you care so much who's blank? D word, I'm writing.
Why do you care so much? Who's that right?
I'll put some links down here so that we don't have to get too much into it. But I mean, I don't know. Okay, well, Gilbert, so what are you saying? You think she's, I don't know. I wasn't there. Okay, I'm just saying what was being reported and what took over all of the conversation about this. And that doesn't help the film. It doesn't help to think that somebody that's this involved in creating this wonderful project has character like that. So I don't know if it is true. If it is true, I have very strong feelings about that. I was cheated on. I don't think that you should go after somebody who's in a relationship, or like in Ethan Slater's case, he had a 1-year-old baby. But I don't know. I wasn't there. The timelines and stuff, you can follow that on your own. Okay, let's get off of Ariana Grande for a minute. Let's go to Cynthia Erivo. So Cynthia Erivo was pretty blameless until like a month ago. Was it like a month ago? When a fan had taken a picture of Cynthia with Ariana next to her, where she's whispering in her ear as Glinda. And this was exactly like the illustration, which was the promo picture of the theater performance of Wicked, the Broadway show. Because they swapped so many different Elphabas and Glinda, it was just better to have an illustration, right? So when the movie poster came out with Cynthia and Ariana, a fan decided to use some Photoshop out of fun to kind of make it look more like the original poster. And Cynthia was not having it. She released this statement. This is the wildest, most offensive thing I've ever seen. equal to that awful AI of us fighting, equal to people posing the question, is your P word green? None of this is funny. None of it is cute. It degrades me. It degrades us. The poster is an illustration. I'm a real-life human being who chose to look right down the barrel of the camera to you, the viewer, because without words, we communicate with our eyes. Our poster is an homage, not an imitation. To edit my face and hide my eyes is to erase me, and that is just deeply hurtful. So she clearly took this personal, and that was the issue. That's what people had something to say about. They're like, Cynthia, this is not about you. This is about Elphaba and Glinda. You do realize that it's not you really in the poster. I mean, it's you as an actress, but you're portraying a character. And we were just taking the animated character and then the live motion one, seeing for fun what it would look like. This is not about you at all. But instead of an apology in a couple different interviews, she just doubled down and was not sorry.
Are you still, I heard you were upset about the poster. Is that still an issue?
No, I wasn't upset. Just, it was a human moment. I'm very protective of this role and I'm passionate about it, just like the fans were passionate about this piece as well. And I just had a moment, had a human moment, that's it.
Help me understand, because I looked at the poster and I thought, why were you upset about it, that you thought it was disrespectful, the way they did the hat or darken the hat?
Well, I didn't think it was disrespectful. I understood where it came from because the illustration is for the original show.
Yes.
And we have our own Whisper poster, which is an homage to that.
Yep.
I think for me, I was just sort of having a human moment. I'm very protective of this character and the work that has been done and the work that's been done on that poster by Sophie, who is wonderful and wanted to pay great homage to these characters and who we are. And I think that me being able to express and connect with our audience was just something I was very protective over. So I had a human moment and probably should have just called a friend.
No. I'm just curious myself because when I looked at it, I didn't think that it was, I thought they were trying to mimic the hat. That's what I thought they were trying to do. I didn't think that they were trying to take anything away from it.
And I'm sure they
so
were.
If they
I think it's
if
the
they did, I wanted to understand it.
Yeah, and I think it's the fans and we both are very passionate about this piece.
Yeah.
And I'm very passionate about what we've done with this piece, and they're very passionate about this and the piece that exists before. And I think we both just were showing a passion.
Had a moment. I like how you said I probably should have just called a friend.
Yeah.
And then she also said things about her being Black and queer. We're going to make her a better Elphaba than the ones before her. Something to that effect, allegedly.
The intention is not to diminish anyone else's version of Elphaba, but the intention is to allow her to show up as me in my body. And I loathe to make it about this, but it is what it is. As a Black woman who is queer,
absolutely,
there's something that I have that many other Elphabas don't have.
Yeah.
And so that innately, immediately makes me completely different.
I get it. Like, you want to basically prove to the audience that you're coming from a sincere place. But at the end of the day, you're acting. So whatever you pull from that's your process. Let us see the film and be the judge of it and decide if whether or not we felt like it was believable. It was a little bit of putting the carriage before the horse, I think, for some people. A lot of people, like with the upcoming Snow White film, decided that they were not going to see Wicked because of Cynthia's behavior around the film. And of course, it's directly related to the film, right? It's not like Ariana Grande was allegedly having an affair with one of her neighbors in LA. It was somebody on the set of this film that she met on the set of this film that she's working with. And then Cynthia, it wasn't like she got mad at like somebody at the grocery store and was like, that's the most offensive thing ever. It was about this film's promotional picture that a fan made, so she was coming after a fan. And that's something you don't want to do. You do not want to burn the bridges of those that are going to ensure the success of your film. So anyway, a little bit of all of that was kind of coming into play for me. So I did not see the original Broadway show of Wicked. I actually was introduced to it by a friend of mine named Aaron. Shout out to Aaron. We were hanging out one day at his house and he sat me down and was like, you have to watch this, and started showing me clips of the show on YouTube.
Something has changed within me. Something is not the same. I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's game.
Didn't realize he was creating a little monster because I became obsessed and we started talking about all the different Elphabas after Idina Menzel, and I was just falling in love with like 400 Elphabas. I was like, these girls are all so ridiculously talented. And the different variations in the songs, the way that they sang, usually Defying Gravity, of course, For Good, but that's coming. That's going to be in Act 2. Defying Gravity just kind of became like my favorite song from a musical of all time. It pretty much made Wicked my favorite musical, even though I've never seen it. So I'm not totally familiar with everything that is the Broadway show, but I know enough to cry every time I hear Defying Gravity and feel empowered and feel amazing. Let's talk about the performances. Ariana Grande.
You're great.
I think we all know that Ariana Grande is just kind of right now in the world today, one of the best singers alive on the planet that is walking around and can do just about everything in her throat that Mariah Carey was able to do in the 90s. People always talk about Mariah Carey's vocal ability, and we all understand and know that her prime was in the 90s. She could pretty much just do anything she wanted, anything she could think of. And that's kind of how Ariana Grande is right now. I think it's one thing to know, like, Ariana Grande can do anything, and then when you start watching her actually do it on this film, you're like, holy crap, this girl is super talented. I want to show you something really quickly because it really plays with my mind. Although I do think that Ariana Grande made this her own, like, she was born to play this role. She is Glinda. Like, yes, many were before her, right? Kristin Chenoweth, the original. But she made this her own. Clearly, she was alive at this time to and became one of the biggest pop stars in the world right now, making this very timeless stamp on her dominating the pop world, because Ariana Grande is one of the biggest pop stars in the world right now. So for her to walk into this and have this movie made at this time, it's just also poetic. But listen to this, because not only did she bring her own to it, but she really paid homage to one of her heroes, Kristin Chenoweth. This is from the song Popular, which is so Kristin Chenoweth, right? But listen, she sounds like Kristin. It doesn't just sound like she's doing the same style, like that operatic, you know, thing that Kristin does. She actually kind of takes on some of her tone and the quality of her voice. Listen to this. It'll first be Ariana. It's all Ariana, but it's Ariana. And then when I do this with my finger, she like goes into Kristin Chenoweth, but it's still Ariana Grande. Is that not the most Kristin Chenoweth thing you've ever heard in your life?
Popular, you're gonna be popular.
That is ridiculous, Ariana Grande.
These things are sent to try us.
I felt like Ariana Grande was the villain in this story. I do. I feel like she is the antagonist. And what I love about this, and I don't know from experience with the original Broadway play, I think they kind of, from what I understand, it was a little bit more hidden. But in this, it's full out. Like, Ariana Grande I mean, she says, like, isn't it so great to see me? And like, she almost like passes out when she doesn't get her way. We see how she treated Elphaba when they go to the room, and she only leaves Elphaba like this little corner of the room, and she has everything else.
Oh, I saved you some space, by the way.
Do you really think this is fair?
I do not. I was promised a private suite. But thanks for asking.
It's almost like she's playing on the diva-ness, but it's a little bit too real. It's like, wow, what a witch. Literally, right? I think that Ariana Grande really leaned into that. I think that she was feeling that anyway, just because of in her private life, right? Like with her relationship with Ethan, she was kind of feeling like the bad guy anyway. So I feel like she just used that to her advantage. And I know that she filmed a lot of this during a lot of that time, because they filmed for a while. Production, I think, wrapped in January of 2024. They had to stop for a while because of the writer's strike. But I think that Ariana leaned into the bad girl, both privately and professionally, for this film. I feel like we got the rewards of that. She really lived out that Regina George, Christy Masterson's, what was her name? Mandy Moore Saved. The mean girl trope. That's who Ariana is in this as Glinda. Like, blatantly, she is the antagonist. She is the villain of the story. We think that the villain is the wizard. We think that the villain is Michelle Yeoh's character, which we will get to in a minute. But I think it's Glinda. Friend and foe in one, right? But more on that, I'm sure, to come in part 2. Don't tell me, because I have not seen part 2. Remember, I haven't seen the musical. I don't know that I would call this a critique, but in the very beginning, when she's in the Munchkin world, and she has the wand, and she's setting the statue on fire of the Wicked Witch, a part of me had an issue with that, because that was supposed to be her friend. And, I mean, I don't care how much time goes by, but if someone was my really good friend and we sang for good together, I'm gonna cry. Even if we don't talk for 10 years and I have to burn a statue of them, I'm not gonna be okay with that. Now, I get it. She had to save face, right? Because she wanted the Munchkin world to think like, yay, the witch is dead and I'm Glinda the Good Witch, so yay, good riddance. I don't know that I saw enough struggle in her face. I wanted to see her fighting it more. Like, yeah, I'm gonna burn this. And down with the witch. Yeah. I don't know if I saw enough struggle there. I need to rewatch it again. But it didn't punch me in the face as being able to really see. She did like the squinty thing, but I didn't see enough like of a baseball in her throat, the knot in her throat, when she was celebrating the death of her friend. Which is why when that girl stood forward and was like, wait, hold on, girl, wasn't she your friend? Girl, that was your friend. She's like, I'm sorry, what? Oh, sorry. And like, she had to repop her bubble. She's like, she was your friend. She's like, I knew her. Our paths had crossed. My girl, just come out with it. That was your friend. What's wrong with that? But I don't know. I'm saving this idea that I'm giving her a pass, because I was focused on so many other things, but it's worth saying that I don't know that I saw enough struggle, right? That she didn't want to celebrate her death. It looked like she was a little too okay to celebrate her death. Kristin Chenoweth, Idina Menzel, Kelly Clarkson. Okay, can we get into this? I love you, Kelly Clarkson, but I'm still mad at you for spoiling that Kristin Chenoweth was going to be in the film.
Wicked is coming out, and I may or may not have seen it.
Okay.
I may or may not have seen you in it. I may or may not have may or may not have been so freaking good. Oh my God. It is so good.
It's like a love letter to our show. It's a love letter to Broadway.
A love letter to talent.
To talent.
It's everyone is so talented in it.
A lot of people came to Kelly's defense and they were like, we saw her in the audience and she's on IMDb. But that was more just like speculation, kind of a rumor, or like most people had to look for that. Maybe they don't care about spoilers. But those of us that do, this was not a common knowledge thing. And even Kelly knew that, because Kelly said, I may or may not have seen you in it. Like, she knows that it's not supposed to be talked about. And you can see Kristin Chenoweth go like, girl, you ain't supposed to say that. So, and then I don't know, Kelly Clarkson's team left it up. They left up the reel, they left up the short, they left up the other smaller clip of it online. I'm like, take this down, or at least edit that out. We don't want the spoiler there. If Kelly's not going to apologize, which I think she should, then at least just take it out. Don't just let it hang out there. It's opening weekend, and this was like a few days ago. It's like it was about to open like in a week. So I'm like, don't do that. Like, let some time go out before people can go out and see it, because not everybody can go opening weekend right away, because you have work and kids and school and all that stuff. So not everybody can make it, but give it like a good week. And then it's the spoiler ban lifts. But this is a week before it was released. I'm sorry. I just hate spoilers. So I love Kelly. I just did a video where I'm reacting to her sing all by myself, but I'm a little bit mad right now because of that spoiler. I really have I hate spoilers. It really pisses me off. Sorry, it really does. Okay. Cynthia Erivo. Where do we begin? I feel like Cynthia Erivo really took her time with this, and we'll talk about this later with Defying Gravity, because it's very evident there too. And this is also a credit to the editor for the pacing, Because as a filmmaker, I look at all this stuff. Camera angles, sets, costume design, cinematography. We'll get into that a little bit later. But even pacing. You can cut a film too quickly to where the reactions don't seem genuine. Like, there is moments in the downbeat, the breath, or the pause, or the space. It's not like a YouTube video where it's like all the cuts, it's like just the stuff to keep people's attention. The negative space, the downbeats, are just as important as the dialogue and the action. I really did feel her. I really connected with her. I didn't need her to verbalize in an interview about being othered so much. Clearly it's there. I mean, mention it, of course. But I just wanted to feel it. And I was nervous. I was like, she talked so much about it. Am I gonna feel it when it's happening? And I did. Now, I don't like cheating. When I saw Elphaba interacting with Fiyero and them kind of having this connection, I don't like that. I'm like, am I supposed to be rooting for this? Am I supposed to be shipping her and Fiyero? Because Fiyero is kind of with Glinda. This is girl code. You don't do that. You do not do that. I'm very big on that stuff. I don't like that. I don't like when people go after other people's boyfriends. It gets shady and competitive, and it's just not okay. Anytime there's that in a story, it really throws me, and it's hard. I can't root for that. I won't root for that. That's why I hated the movie Brokeback Mountain, because they were having an affair and they were married. I'm like, that's not okay. And I want to talk about Kristin Chenoweth and Idina Menzel real quick because they had their cameo in here. I just gave it to Kelly Clarkson, but I didn't even really talk about what she spoiled. Kristin Chenoweth and Idina Menzel are in this, and they sing in this, which was amazing. And that I thought was really cool. I love that this was done right. Like, I'll just say it now. I'll probably say it in closing. This film was done right. Whenever you think of a movie like Freddy vs. Jason, where you have a big fan base and they're counting for you to do it right, and the movie Freddy vs. Jason really did it right. Alien vs. Predator was really done right. Wicked, as an on-screen live adaptation of a Broadway show, was really done right. From what I can tell, and from other people that have seen the Broadway shows, this was so thorough. It did feel very musical, I will say that. If you have kind of a little bit of an apprehension towards musicals like I do. Gilbert, didn't you just say your favorite movie of all time is musical? It is. But it's the exception to the rule. It's not the rule. I actually don't really like musicals. And this felt very musical. It just really did. But I still loved it. So this may be another exception, because even though it was very musical feeling, and there were some times where I was like, if this song had ended like 5 minutes ago, I wouldn't have been mad at it. Sometimes, I don't want to say it feels like it drags on, but just, I'm not a real big fan of like the cheesy spirit fingers and all of that. Like, if I'm going to watch a musical, I want the musical numbers to feel powerful and epic. And I mean, I don't mind backup dancers and singers and stuff, but like, I don't want it to feel so romper room. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't really like that feeling. When it starts to get like that and drag on, and they're singing when they really could just be talking, I'm like, just do that. Sing when it's needed and it's fierce. Otherwise, just talk. So there was a little bit of that, but I get it because, you know, this is so beloved. They wanted to keep everything in it. But my number one favorite musical of all time, and favorite movie just in general of all time, and favorite soundtrack of all time, lots of accolades for this film, is The Greatest Showman. Those of you that know me know that already. Greg Wells worked on that soundtrack. Why is it a big deal? He did Wicked. Greg Wells is the producer of Wicked. The same man is behind this music. So I love him. He also did Celine Dion's The Hard Way, which is my favorite song off of her latest album, Courage. So Greg, if you're watching this, I'm completely obsessed with you. I'm a big fan. I will say this, no shade, but I have to be real. The I'm Just Ken song in Barbie, I wish was out of the film. I know that's a lot of people's favorite, but with all the Kens and they go back to the Barbie world and all that, I don't like that. That whole number feels way off to me. Anyway. I'm probably gonna get canceled because of that. I don't care. You get a real review here with me. If you came here, that's what you got. Okay, what else? I have a lot of unpopular opinions, by the way. If I haven't offended you yet, don't worry, I'll get to you. Movie sets, costumes, makeup, direction, cinematography. They really outdid themselves. They went above and beyond these producers and the set designers. And I mean, the way that they they planted like, I don't even know how many, was it like 1 million? That sounds too much, but it was like something 100,000 flowers for it. Like, they really went into this without any kind of thought of practicality. They brought the magic onto the set wherever they filmed this out in London and created Oz in the Emerald City. Incredible. And it looks like it. Very, very elaborate sets, but it doesn't look like too much. Like, even though it's clearly very elaborate, it looks real. It looks like that's really how these people live. It doesn't look like, you know what I mean? Like gaudy and ostentatious and like, oh gosh, no one could live there. That's just all like a museum. It looks for show. No, it looks real. It looked like a real practical place that they all were living. It was incredible. Makeup, I don't know how they did it, but it does not look like Cynthia is in green makeup. It looks like that's her skin color. And that's hard to do, right? Like, it's easy to have like green clown makeup that, you know, if you just wiped it off, like rubbed it, it would come off. But there was just something in the texture and the tone of the green that was on Elphaba, on, oh my God, see, I'm already saying it, on Cynthia, that looked so real. It looked really good. And it has to, because it's a movie. They're going to have close-ups during the day. And it just looks so real. So kudos to the team and the cinematography, especially with Defying Gravity, when she jumps over, when she's running in the field. Is it The Wizard and I think? And she's running and then jumping. And then also in Defying Gravity, when she jumps over the bell tower, or whatever that thing is. Incredible. Incredible. The shots, the angles, when she's even singing Defying Gravity and telling them, to those who ground me, take a message back from me. Like, I just remember some of those angles. I was like, get it, get it, get it, get it. It was beautiful. And they did their own stunts, as we know. They sang live and they did their own stunts, which is incredible. I keep using that word, but I am obsessed. It's the most fitting word, so I'm going to keep using it. Let's talk about their performances together as Glinda and as Elphaba. When they started singing What Is This Feeling, I believe it's called.
What is this feeling?
As soon as they blended together, I like jumped up in my seat and looked at my friend. I don't think he knew what was wrong with me. He probably thought that I like, you know, had gas or something.
What is this feeling? So sudden and new.
My head is reeling.
Yeah, well, my face is flushing.
I don't know what he was thinking, but I was like physically thrown by hearing their blend, the way their voices blend together. It is incredible. I've heard them talk about it in interviews, but then when I saw it and heard it in the film, it is like, it reminds me of Destiny's Child. I think Destiny's Child, Michelle Williams, Kelly Rowland, and Beyonce, I think that their blend is like the best harmonic, Little Mix though. Them too. Okay, sorry. We're talking about iconic blenders, right? And blending. As a duo, I don't think I can think of a better, more mind-tickling tone than Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. And hearing them independently, I wouldn't think that their voices blend so beautifully together, but they do. That was a treat to listen to. And clearly, again, these two were made to do this film. I really do think that. I loved that. There's been some recent, now that the film is out, there's been some recent conversation, and I guess that we're taking it a little bit back to the controversy. Is there like a romance between Glinda and Elphaba? Is there homoerotic, lesbianic undertones between the two of them?
Every day in the Emerald City is a pride parade.
Oh my God, right? Yeah.
I mean, look at like...
That's actually great.
But it's true.
I will admit, there was a couple of times when they would like throw each other in the bed, and like the way that they would interact during Popular and stuff, it got a little bit controversial.
So what you're saying is everyone in Oz is...
I think so, a little bit. Come on.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I have female friends. I don't know that I would do that with them. But then I just chalked it up to that I'm a guy. Even though I'm gay and I have very strong, affectionate friendships with my female friends, I'm still a guy. So there is some things where, I don't know, though, some girls ask me to grab their... Sorry, I don't want to get too much into there. I don't know. Sometimes females, friends of mine, have asked me to violate their personal space. And I like, no, that's your personal space, girl. I'm gonna stay over here, you stay over there. Thank you so much.
Oh, sure. I think Alfie is, she goes wherever the wind goes. I think she loves Glinda. I think she loves
love. I think it is.
I think
I
so.
don't think there's anything wrong with like celebrating the deep connection that both of them have.
Yeah.
The question is brought up because a lot of people online seem to be thinking that Elphaba and Glinda, like they're shipping them.
It's a relationship. It is true love, which is probably why people are shipping it, you know?
Apparently other people were picking up on it. And then even Cynthia and Ariana kind of confirmed it. They were like, yeah, we think that they are. Give them some time.
Glinda might be a little in the closet, but if there were a time, if they had, maybe, you know, you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
Give it a little more time.
Yeah.
And then Kristin Chenoweth chimed in and was like, I thought that too a long time ago. I mean, I don't care either way. I mean, if they are lesbian, let them be lesbian, or maybe that's kind of the part of it is like, it's just such a true, deep love that sometimes the lines do blur. And whether or not they are lesbian isn't as important, I don't think, as it is that they're friends and that the way that they connect is pure. And so if that leads into them even being romantic, that's okay. It's all about just the authenticity of their connection, whether it be platonic or romantic. It's just we want to see the purity of what they are, however that manifests. And I think that was covered. So there's room for them being a little bit flirty. I don't mind with that. And that does happen sometimes with friendships, you know. I've had male friends where even though we're platonic, sometimes the lines blur a little bit. It's like, maybe. You just never know. One of my favorite moments is during Defying Gravity when Ariana, I keep saying her name, but whatever, you know who I mean. Glinda grabs the cloak and comes over and puts it around her and she's tying it. And you see Cynthia wink at her. I died. Because in that moment, it was almost like we were watching a blooper. That was not Elphaba winking to Glinda. That was Cynthia winking to Ariana, and they left it in, saying, we're really doing this. We're really doing this. We're living our dream. And I just kind of like grabbed my heart when I saw that wink. I knew what it meant. I love that they kind of left it in. It wasn't too fourth wall-ish. It wasn't like Deadpool where he turns to the camera and talks to us. I mean, I could feel that. Like, what was that all about? But I think that it leaves that there needed to be something that crossed over through even the film and the story to show what these two women being in this film, what it means to them and what it means to our culture. So I accepted that. I don't usually do that. I'm such a stickler for the story, but I feel like there's always an exception. And this was one, so I didn't mind that. The dance. Okay, so I don't know how I feel about that, guys. I don't know that I was really a big fan of the dance. I'm just going to be honest. It felt, I don't know. When it was going on, it kind of reminds me of those of you who have seen Rent, and how funny, because Idina Menzel is in that. In the movie version of Rent, Over the Moon, only thing to do is jump over the moon.
Only thing to do is jump over the moon.
When she's doing the weird stuff, that she's hitting the cowbell.
Diet Coke.
And making weird sounds. It's so artsy. It's so over the top.
It's like I'm being tied to the hood of a yellow rental truck.
You're a little bit cringy in your seat. You're like, what is this? I don't understand this.
Pushed over a cliff by a suicidal Mickey Mouse.
That's kind of how I felt with the dance. I think if they had shared a scene earlier where that's what she did to feel special, or to balance herself, she danced. And she was doing that in this moment. Like, there had to be a reason for that dance. That dance came out of nowhere. It would have sold it more for the scene if there was a prior explanation of what that dance meant. And there just wasn't. So that when everybody started mocking at her, it was just this superficial because she looked silly, as opposed to us knowing what that meant. Like, why is she dancing? What does that mean? Is that You get what I'm saying? So it didn't really, it just looked like a cheap laugh at her. Because like, how weird. Because there still wasn't so much depth, when Glinda starts joining her, it's only surface. Like, so that they'll stop laughing. As opposed to, I know what this dance means to you, and I want to join it. And this is me really showing you that I'm here for you. I think that's what they were going for. But it didn't pack the punch that it could have if that was explained a little bit better. Keala Settle. I was just talking about The Greatest Showman, my favorite musical and motion picture and soundtrack of all time. When I saw her, I freaked out. I was like, oh my God, she's in this. She better sing in this. She didn't sing in Act 1. She better sing in Act 2. You could not have Keala Settle in your film and not have her sing. Listen, I love her. And that also tied in, because like I told you, Greg Wells did the soundtrack for The Greatest Showman, and he did Wicked. So I know him and Keala are friends. So that was like, for me, a little like musical geeky moment of like, oh, girl, see you. It got me excited. Although I don't like her character though. She's a hag. I didn't like her. As much as I love Keala Settle, the character she was playing, I want to smack that heifer. I was like, listen, be nice to the little goat, okay? He has a hard time. And they were like, just go in there and they grabbed the professor goat. And I was like, oh, heck no. I wanted Elphaba to like Wicked Witch out and just like use her telekinesis and just like slap everybody with a piece of paper or something. But she didn't. She instead made everybody fall asleep. But it is still something. I love Michelle Yeoh. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is one of my favorite movies, and that's where I saw her for the first time. I always get it wrong. Is it Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, or Everywhere, Everything, All at Once? It's one of the two. But that movie is amazing. She killed it in that movie. So those two are the ones that I know of her. And then, so when I saw her in this, I got really excited. And when she comes out and she claps, and I was like, yes!
Don't let her get away!
I want to see her show more of her power. All she did was, it was not all she did. She pulled a storm on a row Monroe, and she like made the clouds dissipate. Remember when the storm was coming? It was about to rain. She was like, no, I'll fix that. I was like, okay, girl, you just command the weather like that? I mean, that's some power. So I want to see her use more power. But how cool that from the beginning, we're kind of like, why is she getting a little too tingly all over the place when Elphaba is using her powers?
You, come with me.
Of course.
Not you. You. You're the one the wizard has been waiting for.
I mean, I guess it's like, oh yeah, she wants a good student. But it all came to play when it shows that it was because they needed someone to open up that book and to do the spells. Because she wasn't powerful enough. Oz has no power.
You have no real power.
It was a higher stakes.
Did you say steak?
And that's why she needed a powerful person. So that made more sense. I was like, oh, that's why. Oh, now I get it. I thought that was cool. There's just something about Michelle Yeoh's personality and the way that she carries herself. I would say that she has this like otherworldly dynamic to her, and you're not sure if you should trust her or not. That's how I felt. Even though she's captivating, she's amazing, I was afraid of her. I was scared to death, but yet I was hanging on every word that she said. And I think that that's probably why she's so powerful in this role, because you don't know if you should trust her or not. You're supposed to be left uneased and unsettled the whole time. Like, do I like her? Am I afraid of her? I don't know. She played that part like a fiddle. Okay, Jonathan Bailey. What is going on with my life? I didn't know who he was. So he's the one who plays Fiyero. He's hot. And he reminds me, when I saw him, it reminded me of when I first saw White Collar, Matt Bomer. Oh my God. Hottest guy of all time. Henry Cavill. Okay, well, I'll have to make a list of the hottest guys of all time sometime, and they can duke it out. But Jonathan Bailey, now he might be up there because he is just so handsome. And I mean, I did not blame everybody that was swooning, the guys and the girls, right? Like in that clock place. It looked like a clock. I don't remember me think of a clock, all the wheels and stuff. But how amazing was he? His singing voice. He reminded me also of Untangled. Who was the guy on Tangled that she kidnapped and then like Remember? He kind of had that same kind of vibe to him, I think. He very much had like a Disney prince kind of vibe to him. But he was so handsome. But like Michelle Yeoh's character, I don't know if I should trust him. I feel like he's up to something. Well, of course, he's in the middle of two girls, and he's not playing it off very well. I mean, not like I want him to play it off, because you shouldn't be doing that anyway. But he's cold. He starts getting cold and standoffish to Glinda. And then he's like all about Elphaba, right? But right before that, he was all about Glinda. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about you. You're too fickle. You're too flaky for me, even though you're hot. But I don't want Glinda or Elphaba to get hurt. And you look like you're about to hurt them both. So I don't know how I feel about Fiyero. And again, I have not seen Act 2, so don't tell me any spoilers. But Jonathan Bailey's character and Michelle Yeoh's character have that in common. I don't trust them. Well, now we know Michelle Yeoh's character is messed up. She's turning everybody on Elphaba. But I don't know how Fiyero's going to be, because he looks like he might be going down that same path. Okay, Defying Gravity. From the first, something has changed within me. Something is not the same. I was like, girl. Well, she did it slower. That's my whole point. She really took her time with that. And it like started to build. And I was just listening to every choice, because that's what Defying Gravity is. It's choices. You're making choices throughout that whole song. It's not just the riffs. It's all your intonations. It's everything. And she just did it masterfully. Like, she had been singing that song her whole life. And that's the thing, when you're so comfortable with the song, you can get tied into singing it a certain way. Or you just know it so well. It's like home, that you can take liberties in the moment because you're just that comfortable with it. And that's kind of how it was. And she didn't do a lot that was too different, just subtly to make it her own. That was so impressive to me, listening to Cynthia sing that song that way. And then back to production, the sound of this song was so pop. Even though I did say that it feels very musical as a musical, like as a whole, it feels like a musical film, right? It's a musical classic. But the sound is so modern. It's so rich and full and pop. It's good. So commercial. It sounds really good. So I was just really blown away by the sound of... Good job again, Greg. I'm completely obsessed. And then when she jumps out the window and she's free-falling in the middle of Defying Gravity, of course we don't see that in the play. They took their time by adding these other moments when she's seeing herself in the reflection as a little girl. And I'm like, what is this moment? Like, I don't get it. Is it because when you were a little girl, you felt bound by gravity? So now you're like, I'm flying now. I guess that's always a full circle moment, right? It's kind of a trope when we look in the mirror and see a little version of ourselves. We're like having that confrontation with who we used to be. It's poetic. It's artistic. So I understood that part, that they wanted that. But I don't know that it really hit me as the purpose. Like, why are we seeing a little version of her? Was that grounded? I love, though, that she swung back around and got the hang of it. Well, she had to, because the climax of the song was coming. She better get it in line. But then she did. And then she, like, sent the monkeys flying through the glass. And I was like, oh, they're monkeys. It's not their fault. I mean, I guess they're trying to attack her. But still, she was the one that put the wings on their back. That was an epic shot, too. And even though the characters, the animals, are all CGI, it looks good. It looks really good. I just saw the Snow White trailer and saw those CGI animals. Doesn't look very good. These CGI animals looked really good. Yeah, they probably spent the big bucks for this one. I heard the soundtracked version of Defying Gravity on my way home from work because I was going to get ready, change my clothes, and then go see the movie. And I saw that it dropped same day, right? So I started listening to Defying Gravity, and to my ear, it sounds very different. I think that was done in a studio, whereas the one in the film was probably done live. I'm sure they redubbed some parts. I'm sure they did sing live, but there would be no way. Because, I mean, even with all of them, like, singing a certain way through the harness, wherever the microphone is, you're going to hear differences in volume. If the microphone's right here, and she's like, I'm defying gravity, gravity, girl. Like, it's just, no matter how much And she's not even doing this. It would have to be hidden on her, or the boom operator would have to be like, dang girl, stay still. I'm trying to get your vocal here. You have to think about those kind of things. So I'm sure that maybe she was singing live and then she had to go in a studio and then re-record that part, listening to the choices she made live and then making it sync up with her mouth so that it's a fresh vocal with fresh sound, but as close to mimicking what she did live as possible. That way they can carry that, you know, forward into it. That's what I would think they did. I've done things close enough to that, like Foley or redubs in filmmaking, as well as recording music. So that would make sense to me when you have to go back in and dub stuff. I will say this, I hit a speed bump when singing the climax of Defying Gravity. She ends with, and then I'll match them in renown. And then, and nobody in all of Oz, no wizard that there is or was. That part doesn't come right away. It says, and then I'll match them in renown. And then there's this like little interlude. And you're like, huh? And she sings Unlimited. And you're like, huh? I remember like, I was so ready. I'm like, so if you can, I'm belting it out. And then I'm like, and then on that, no. Wait, girl, where are you? Did you leave? Cynthia, hello, I'm singing along to your song. She wasn't there. I didn't like it. When on the first hear, I didn't like it because I've done this in my own filmmaking. You lose momentum because you want to put in another scene here or tell more of the story. We got to be careful with that because you're building momentum. You're in a climax and then you're going to take some time off to do a little interlude. I was like, girl, don't know. Now I want to fast forward to get to the other part, but then I do, and then I'm already into it. And I'm like, oh, I got to go back. And it's just, I didn't like it. But when I saw it in the theater, and I saw what they did because she was going higher and higher and higher and thinking about her past, and there was a montage of what was going on in the Emerald City, it made more sense. So I was like, okay, I needed to see this. This is why there's a little break there and a little interlude. That makes sense. I'm not as mad about it. I'm wondering if they could have done more B-roll maybe, but then how do you do more B-roll when she's singing? You want to show her performing. So I get it. So they had to make a choice to cram it all in. But I do think it worked, you know, because when she does say, and nobody in all of Oz, no wizard that there is or was, it works. You know, the lights go out, there's lightning and thunder behind her. It's epic. I did love all of that. Now, how do I feel about her riffs and her run choices? I'm okay with riffs and runs. Alyssa Fox is one of my favorite Elphabas that kind of brought some of those riffs and runs down. Some other ones. Maybe I'll have to talk about that if I ever review the musical, the Broadway show version of it, because I want to keep this more about Cynthia and Ariana. But I do like a lot of Elphabas and what they do with the riffs and the runs. I know they're not supposed to do them a lot. Whenever they do it, the stage managers are like, girl, I'll talk to you after the show. Sing it right. But Cynthia probably was given more liberties. She didn't go crazy. She changed it a little bit, but there's a couple of different ways that I would have liked, because I could hear her voice in my head. I'm like, if she sang it this way, I probably would have like had a heart attack in a good way. But I still like what she did with it. I think she did enough to keep it more close to the way Idina did it. More, not as over the top, with the exception of the final riff. That was completely her own thing that she did. And she did it on Jimmy Fallon, which was nice. I really like that.
How did you, could you, maybe a tease? I'm sorry, why do I do this to you? Why do I make you work this hard?
Because you love me and I love you.
Thank you, Erica, that's true. That is true.
Okay.
So she made it her own. I loved it. My breath was taken away. I didn't know how much watching it was going to pull out this new season of me being a dreamer and me being a crazy deranged fan for all things Wicked all over again. And I'm in a place in my life right now where I need that kind of stuff. Closing thoughts. It was very musical. I can't get over that enough. I think sometimes when people drag you to a musical, they're like, it's not that bad. It's not really that bad. It's not really even, doesn't even feel like a musical. They're lying to you if they tell you that about Wicked, because it definitely feels like a musical. What they're not lying to you about is that it's really good and it's worth it and you'll probably love it, even if you're not a musical person. As far as what I think could have been done any better, I don't think I can. I think everything was excellent. I think it was iconic. I think it looked beautiful. It sounded beautiful. I thought the acting was impeccable. They each made it their own. The chemistry between the two of them was, you can cut it with a knife. And not just with each other, but even with the other supporting cast. It just all worked. You can feel the love that went into this of all the people. And I will say that it's, at the end of the day, it's the editor and the director that bring it all home. You can have phenomenal actors and you can have a director and an editor that just make it crap. And vice versa. You can have decent acting, but the director and the editor can make magic out of it. This looked like it had everything. Amazing acting, amazing shots, and then the director and the editor had so much to work with, and it's a masterpiece. This movie's a masterpiece. I thought it was sensational. The lights just turned off on me again. I can't turn off the phone because it will ruin my angle. So I'm gonna just have to give the rating now and end this video. My rating for Wicked is, drumroll please, 10 out of 10. Definitely. I actually think this is the first time I've ever given a film a 10 out of 10 on my channel. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I've never given a film a 10 out of 10. This is my first perfect score for a film, and very well deserved. Yeah, it's a masterpiece. I don't think that there's anything better that could have been done about this film. And I have very high standards. I have a very strong list that I go by. I don't just give out 10s. Even to my absolute all-time favorites, they don't all get 10s. I don't even know if any of them get 10s. Actually, no. I know of one that might get a couple that might get a 10. But like out of the top 40. So no, they're my personal favorites. It doesn't mean that they're the best. But there are a couple that, okay, actually, whether I loved them or not, this is a great film. Anyway, if you love this video, please smash the subscribe button. Smash the like button. Come back and hang out with me again. And drop a comment. What did you think of the movie Wicked? Did you see it yet? Well, you better have seen it, because if you didn't, you just got all the spoilers. But are you excited about part 2? And then also tell me, what was your favorite part of this film, this movie, part 1? What was your favorite moment? I want to hear all about that. Till next time, I love you. God bless you. Take good care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Mwah.